Keynotes are hard work. That's why today I'm doing them all for you. At least this is part one. What's going on, team? My name's David Tomic. I'm a registered architect here in Western Australia. And over the past several months, I've been building the ultimate Archicad template. Today, I'm showcasing over 200 keynotes that I've custom curated for this template. And there's probably another 300 to 400 to go. So this officially starts the Keynote series of the Ultimate Archicad Template build. This is where the template gets super nerdy. Like I mentioned before, Keynotes is now available in Archicad 28 by default. You don't have to have CI tools installed like I have here for Keynotes. You can just do it straight out of Document and Keynotes palette. If you don't know what a Keynote is, it's basically an automated way of placing text onto your project. So instead of having to type lat pull, for instance, here time and time again, you can simply create a keynote and duplicate it wherever you need it. And they're super simple to use. So for example, if I double click on check on site, click check on site immediately pops up with the main key. Now, here's my pet peeve with keynotes from Archicad versus CI tools. You cannot change this keynote to indicate the title. It will always be the key throughout all of your drawings. So if you wanted to say COS-check on site, well, you have to go through the workaround. And it's a bit of a pain if I'm being honest. Hopefully Archicad 29 coming out in the next day or two will fix this problem for us. But I digress. If you're looking to add the title, just simply double click on the keynote. Let's press space, go into our keynote palette, which is the second icon in the middle, double click on check on site, down to the bottom for your title and press add. That's it, you're done. Now the benefit of this is for whatever reason, if you needed to change your key, click off, automatically that text and all other text throughout your entire project will be automatically updated. So you don't have to go back and change every single key throughout your entire project. If you've never used Keynotes before, it is a huge time saver and an absolute game changer. So same as before, let's take out those dots, click away, fixed. Same works on site. If we want to type in the number 1 after, automatically adds it. So no matter what you do in this Keynote palette, it will change all your text for you. Now, as I mentioned, this is part 1, because as you can see, there is a number of categories I've created so far, and I've completed them generally per se. There's probably a few more to add here and there in these specific categories. There's probably another 20 or 30 categories I'll add along the list, but for now, these are my categories. And to showcase this in a much simpler way, I'll jump across to Excel, which is where I've actually curated all of these keynotes. Now you'll see, of course, there's a key up the top, and then there's folder and keynotes. The folder up the top aligns with abbreviations, which creates your folder in Archicad, and then you have all of the keys in between. There are a couple of items that I've documented here specific to Australia. So if you're documenting in Australia and you're using the National Construction Code and Australian standards, this is the ultimate place to start. And I will reference start because notes and standards and the National Construction Code change so frequently, it's not even funny. Irrespective, let's have a quick look. I'll just go ahead and highlight all of the categories to make it visually understandable. Now it's a little bit easier to understand and visually display to you guys. So in the general notes, it's everything to do with standard construction codes. So for example, all work shall be in accordance with the National Construction Code, relatively simple stuff. Most of these general notes you'll place on every single drawing, every single document you ever export, and it will just form part of your general notes. Some of them are specific for commercial projects. I've started interlacing a few items here. I know the template is still very much residential based, but you know, when you get into the mindset and you've done so many commercial projects, you start to throw these things in. So for instance, down a little bit further, I've got double doors need to meet standards of AS 1428.1, which is the Accessibility Australian standard, not applicable to residential homes, general cases, but you know, it's there. Nevertheless, in the general notes, we have so many important elements that we need to be documenting on our drawings. For instance, marine environment. Where it's considered a marine environment, it needs to comply with certain codes, AS 42000, for instance, and it all depends on the climate zone you're in. Now, because I am here in Western Australia, we don't have all of the climate zones. So most of these keynotes are defined around climate zone 6, 7, and 8, you'll see here in the marine environment. If you're over east, the climate zones in Australia span so far and wide, so you may have to adjust these to fit your specific criteria. I've tried to define the keynotes in 2 different styles. GN1 is General Note 1. And that format is repeated all the way down to GN40 because they're all general notes. You're going to apply them everywhere. You're not really going to apply them to a specific item within your project. But if I move down to concrete construction just quickly, you'll see we have CN1 through to 10, which is our concrete notes. Again, most likely not added to anything specific in the project, just added as a generic note on the working title. But then you have ET1, FB1, and SF1, specific keynotes with different abbreviations. So ET1 is concrete edge thickening, and that's referring to the engineer's documentation. You would obviously go ahead and update that to 300 by 200, 500 by 500, whatever the thickening is on the engineer's documentation. But I've left it blank in case you don't have engineering documentation or your documentation isn't to that standard and you're just referencing everything back to engineers. That sort of system is a lot easier to explain further up in our fixtures and our fittings. So if I was to quickly scroll up, you'd see S1, shear curtains, M1, mirror, M2, mirror 2, bathtubs, taps, floor wastes, everything in between. So in an old version of my template, I had all of these robe elements documented with R1 through to 11 or something similar. But because I've gone ahead and adjusted all of my Keynote standards, they've all been removed and we can now add them ourselves if we need to again. So for instance, if we come across this bath, we can go to our MEP plumbing, BTH1 bathtub, place on selection, and then simply move that to the middle. Now, the best thing here, that Keynote is attached to our bath. If we delete the bath, the Keynote deletes. If we move the bath, the Keynote moves. So it's linking our items to our objects. Similarly, if we wanted water closet 1, place it on our selection, put it where we want it, and then it's linked to our actual object. Besides all the general notes, everything is broken down into many, many categories. So fixtures and fittings are pretty obvious. Plumbing is relatively obvious. Site preparation, again, it's referencing the most current Australian standards for specific items. So for example, AS 3798 is the guidelines for earthworks for commercial and residential projects here in Australia. It's ensuring that whoever takes on this project needs to understand the Australian standards, needs to perform to a certain level, and then that way we know our work will be executed to the level that we've envisioned. Those Australian standards are repeated multiple times for as many things as we can. So AS 2159 for screw foundations, which is a standard for piling here in Australia. AS 2870 for concrete standards and construction. There has been so many Australian standards referenced, hence why this has taken so long to get to the point where we are, and it's just part one. We have everything for concrete construction that you're most likely going to need, everything for lightweight construction. Lightweight construction has grouped timber and steel. So you'll see we have lightweight standards here, which talks about structural steel, and then immediately after it talks about timber framing. So it depends if you're documenting in lightweight, timber, or stud frame steel. Either way, the standards in the notes are going to cover you for as much as humanly possible. You just have to go through, select which ones are applicable, and add them to your project. And I'm hoping, because everybody watching this video is a huge Archicad nerd, you're going to appreciate the amount of time and effort and energy that's been spent for every single little detail. Roof trusses, Australian standards, AS 1720.5 is just another example of how much detail I've gone into here. Now, some elements you may need to change. For instance, this is an Australian standard reference in the middle, but it also indicates that all timber frame walls are to be finished with 10mm plasterboard flushed and paint finished. You might be using 13mm plasterboard instead of 10mm, or you might not be using plasterboard at all. Make sure you read all of your keynotes before you publish any documentation set. I've included the basics, so B1, J1, P1, for your bearers, floor joists, and purlins, referencing your engineer's documentation. You may need to create additional documents, so you potentially will end up with 10 bearers in a project. So B1 will end up going through all the way to B10. P1 may end up at P12. God knows how many you're going to have in your project. Especially steel columns, engineers like to document every single steel column as a different number, regardless if they're the same size, regardless if they're the same thing. Helps people identify columns in a project. So you're most likely going to end up with 100 steel columns in some projects. Moving on, we have brickwork construction. There's limited in brickwork down here. I do a lot more in lightweight than I do in brickwork, so I don't have much here in brickwork. If anybody's watching and would love to add to these keynotes, or potentially I've gotten some of these standards wrong, feel free to reach out on YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, anywhere you like, so that I can get this updated for the next release, and of course, credit you for all the help. Installation, relatively simple. We're talking about all the insulation standards, different types of insulation, sarking, anticon, wall bats, slab edge, perimeter insulation, etc. There's not much to talk about in insulation, and these will change very much project specific depending on what the energy report says. I'll highlight here that the slab perimeter insulation is very new here in Western Australia. I know we're years behind the East Coast, so excuse my ignorance with this particular product selection and how it is documented. We've done it on one project that never went ahead, so it's only very, very new for slab edge insulation, and the products in Western Australia are extremely limited as well. Roof sheeting and structure, again, relatively simple. I've highlighted the main notes, RN1 through to RN6, and then provided 3 standard roof sheet coverings: custom orb, trim deck, and clip lock. If you want to go ahead and add more, if you want high deck, if you want max extinction, whatever you need, you can add those as an additional keynote, RS4, RS5, and so on. The best thing about all of these keynotes, and if you've watched some of my other videos, you can tie these keynotes in, so RS1 directly into Programmer. So you can export a schedule of all your materials and finishes, and the builder can easily identify what's what. In your architecture documents, RS1 is labeled as custom orb roof, and then in your programmer you could highlight that it's monument, it's surf mist, whatever it is. Doors and windows have particularly been documented for aluminium frame windows. Generally, I like aluminium frame windows. They're a durable, high quality product. Timber has a beautiful finish, but there's a lot of maintenance with timber as well. Most of my clients want extremely low maintenance housing, and a lot of them don't appreciate the aging of natural timber going from a beautiful dark red to a light grey. So there's some clients definitely that want timber, but generally speaking, it is aluminium windows. Again, as much of this has been highlighted with National Construction Code information, so the protection of openings at heights, if it's more than 4 meters, you have to restrict the opening. If it's more than 2 meters, again, you have to restrict it in a different style. So all of these items have been implemented into this template and all these keynotes. Now we're almost at the absolute end, and my son in the background, I apologize, he is well and truly ready for bed. So we'll wrap this up quickly. Claddings and linings more so documents the standard claddings and linings we use, from plasterboard to Axon to James Hardie, Metroll, and Nutec Wood composite cladding systems. Joinery and finishes is exactly what we had previously, but just upgraded to the next level. The R1 we used in the original documents has moved to JN1, and then particular items like drawers, joinery finishes, mirror cabinets have their own unique labels. Anyway, that's all for me, team. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below, and like always, I'll see you next week.